Baltimore Ravens were super happy to get their quarterback back as Lamar Jackson led a 28-6 victory over the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. Now they get to travel to Minnesota to take on J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings, who won against their division rivals, the Detroit Lions, here in Week 9. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down this Week 10 matchup and provide our predictions at the very end of the video. So be sure to stay tuned, leave a comment, let us know who you think is going to win, and hit that subscribe button, get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, there's a big, big difference on this Ravens team when Lamar Jackson's in the game versus when he's not in the game, especially, too, if you're Derrick Henry. 19 carries, 119 yards. Haven't seen that from him, I don't think, since week 1. But either way, though, I mean, nothing to get too super excited about. It was Miami. Now, I say that Miami kicked the crap out of my Falcons, but that's a totally separate issue that is internal on our side that we're not going to talk about. But still, though, Baltimore Ravens keeping their playoff hopes alive. They're 2 games back from Pittsburgh within the division, 2 games back from Jacksonville as well, too, from a wild card spot. And that's big here going into Week 10 with 8 weeks left into I think I'm doing that math right. Or we're halfway through the season. You get what I'm talking about. So big game overall, though, because the same thing could be said for Minnesota as well, too. They're last in the division in the NFC North, sitting at 4-4. Big win here over Detroit as well, too. But if we also go look, they're only a game and a half back from the Green Bay Packers. But if we go look at where they're at in the wild card right now, they're 10th in the wild card. NFC, unlike the AFC, very crowded. A lot of teams, a lot of potential avenues. While really, I mean, Baltimore, I think they could win the division, but getting a wild card spot, I think, is going to be tough unless they really start to run the table here. But still a lot of season left to go. Ryan, I want to throw it over to you. What have you thought about this Baltimore Ravens team, especially too now that Lamar Jackson is first game back, and as well too J.J. McCarthy's first game back as well for Minnesota this
Yeah.
past
So
week?
I thought the Ravens looked pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously you kind of have to get back into the rhythm of things when you miss some time like Lamar Jackson did, and then coming out of the bye week as well. Well, they had the bye week 2 weeks ago, but then coming back and then missing last week. So still getting back into the rhythm of things, but this looked a little bit more like the Ravens offense that we had seen in seasons past, where Lamar Jackson, nothing electric on the stat sheet, but just very efficient throwing the ball, contributing in the running game, and then Derrick Henry just absolutely dominant in the running game as well. And so I think that's been refreshing. But then defensively, I thought they've looked better. They haven't gotten nearly blown off the ball the same the last few weeks in the trenches. You go look at their last 3 games, they've allowed 74, 96, and 87 rushing yards. Now, they still gave up 276 rushing yards or 276 passing yards to who'd they play a couple weeks ago? It was last week. Tyler Huntley started.
The Bears.
The Bears, yeah. They still get up 276 passing yards to the Bears, but that's a really good offensive line. They gave up 245 to Tua, but they were leading the whole time, and we're just kind of letting Tua throw a little bit. And then 167 passing yards before that. So they really kind of have started to shore things up in that aspect of things. I still don't think that they're going to be the super threatening defense that we thought they could be at the beginning of the year. But if they can just be fundamentally sound and not beat themselves, this offense should be good enough to kind of carry them to a lot of victories here coming down the stretch. So I was impressed with the Ravens there. And the Vikings, I kind of correlated a little bit like to your Falcons, where they're just a hard team to kind of predict. I think you go look like starting the year, J.J. McCarthy, they had that great comeback on Monday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. Then they absolutely laid an egg against your Falcons in that week 2 matchup. They looked good against the Bengals and won 48-10. And then they come back the next week and really struggle against the Steelers overseas. And that game was really closer than it should have been. They beat the Browns, not convincingly. They lost to the Eagles in a game that they were competitive in, but just gave up too many big plays. Really bad loss to the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. And then they come back this week and have a good win over the Lions in the NFC North. So it was a division matchup and crazier things can happen, but this has been a really hard team to kind of judge because you look at the talent that they have and the coaching staff, and they should be better than 4-4. But then you go look at how they're losing some of these games, and they've really struggled to, look functional at times, but then you also go, they've also struggled with the injury bug and had some, especially on the offensive side of the ball as well. So this Vikings team is really tough to predict because you don't really know which version you're going to get right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think what's interesting too now it's and with Lamar Jackson missing a pretty significant portion of the season so far, I think also some of it could be said about the Ravens as well too.
Yeah.
It's I think we know like the style of play that the Ravens like to play. Like this is a stat line I think you kind of want if you're the Ravens. You know, maybe a little more passing yards, but 18 for 23, 204. Well, 4 touchdowns is great just in general. But then Derrick Henry 19 carries, 119 yards. So, like second leading rusher is Lamar Jackson. Maybe a couple more rushing yards. He only had 5 carries for 14. But once again, like when you're controlling the clock like that, Derrick Henry is like that's kind of what you want. Where the Ravens, the Ravens don't want to get behind because then that's a game that they have to play that they don't really like. And once again, too,
Yeah.
it's not that's just not their mo. And that's where I think this game is going to come down to is the team that gets the lead early and can control it probably going into halftime. I think it's probably going to be the team that leads. Because even too, good win for Minnesota, but McCarthy 14 for 25, only 143 passing yards. Now the Vikings did do a good job running the ball, 142 total rushing yards. Aaron Jones did get a little banged up, but it seemed like he's still going to be okay to play for this Week 10 matchup. But that's going to be huge for him to have that veteran experience in the backfield and for this offense here because this Ravens defense is giving up a lot of yards. And this is where, to me, as I said, it's the team that gets the lead early is going to be able to play the style of football that they're going to want to play.
Yeah.
This Vikings defense is susceptible, but once again, if they let's say they get up 10, then now it's more likely that Lamar Jackson can lead a passing comeback. I would say, but it's
Mhm.
not really even more Lamar Jackson. It's more just the receiving room, just their passing game, like the weapons that they have around him. I trust Lamar Jackson. Like if you put Lamar Jackson on this Minnesota offense with Kevin O'Connell as your coach, I don't think they lose a game. Like I think it would be so amazing him throwing to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You have all these weapons.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, though, too, is I think the receiving room that they have for Baltimore is what could hold them back from making a comeback like that. And now on the flip side for Minnesota, yeah, you have Jefferson, you have Addison, so maybe they could help. Like they McCarthy's not a rookie, but this is his first year starting. They could bail him out of some situations. But McCarthy though just doesn't have the experience or the MVP caliber capabilities like how Lamar Jackson does. So Kevin O'Connell wants just like how they did today. They want to get the lead early. They want to maintain that lead, maintain control of the game because it's going to open up the entire playbook where you can have complete balance attacks. Like they had 25 passes today, 29 rushes as well too. Now McCarthy had 9 rushes, so to be fair, I need to go back and look at how many of those were like passing plays that he ran for. To be completely honest, but still in
Yeah.
general though, pretty balanced book. Same thing then too as well with Lamar Jackson, 23 passes, then 31 rushes. In the game against Miami. You don't want it to be for either team. You don't want to see McCarthy or Jackson have 45 passes and then only like 20 carries on the entire game. And so that's when both these teams' offenses are not doing well. So whoever gets off to the quicker start here is going to be the team that gets it. And to me, I think that's going to be Minnesota being at home, going to have the environment there with them and it's a big matchup overall for them. I think they're going to come out hot, and I think they're going to be able to dial up some things with because the secondary for Baltimore and defense just in general is not playing well. They're dealing with some pretty significant injuries, especially with Manabike being out for the entire year. But I think they're still going to have a tough time guarding Jefferson, guarding Addison, guys that McCarthy could lean on, especially early on. And I think they're going to get after the running game here in this offensive line for Baltimore. I think Brian Flores is going to try and dial up some more blitzes here, trying to be more aggressive. And at the same time, too, though, like be sure to contain Lamar Jackson because you don't want him getting out in space. So I'm going to go with Minnesota here in a close one. But once again, I think Minnesota is going to get control early on. And I just think they're just going to be able to maintain it because they're going to be able to play the style of football that that they want to play.
Yeah. I think it's going to be close too, but I am going to go with Baltimore here. I think they match up fairly well
Yeah.
because I do think that, Brian Flores, he likes his guys to be able to fly around, but some of that is, they just, I think Derrick Henry will have a good game. I think Baltimore's offensive line is definitely improving as well. And then with Lamar Jackson back, I really think that this offense is going to take another step forward as the weeks kind of continue on. But then I also look at the bigger picture here, and the NFC is there's a lot of teams that are in the race for those playoff spots, and every game is very important. But you go look at the AFC, and if the Ravens are going to make a push to make the playoffs, they're probably going to have to win this division. And so they got to catch the Steelers. Maybe they could win a wild card, but that's going to be tough considering that they have lost to both the Bills and the Chiefs. So from here, they play the Vikings this week, which in my opinion is a must win. If they go to 3-6, I think that really doesn't mathematically eliminate them, but it really kind of eliminates them. And then they have a favorable schedule coming up. So it's Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. So a tough kind of 4 out of the last 5, but this could be the start of a run for them to get back to,
Yeah.
true AFC contenders. And
I
so
will say just real quick, don't count out the Browns against this Ravens team. I mean,
that's
that
that
Browns
defense
defense
is just
is
crazy.
legit. Like they could really just
Yeah.
stymie Lamar Jackson and company there.
Yeah. And so I think it's going to be interesting here for the Bengals, or for the not the Bengals, the Ravens, because that division is still gettable. So I think that with Lamar Jackson coming back, they just had a really nice win in Miami on Thursday night. They're going to have a mini bye coming into this week. I think vibes are high in the Ravens facility right now, and I like what they've been doing since that bye week, especially defensively. They've started to make some improvements as well. So I'm going to go with Baltimore here in this matchup.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, this one could go either way. Honestly, a great week of games.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go look at this, all the games we've recorded so far tonight, there's even a couple more tomorrow that we're going to do. That are going to be released. So be sure to check it out and subscribe. But nearly every game it has some playoff implications or some division implications, or it
Yeah.
doesn't because both teams suck. And
Well,
it's a lot of fun games to watch here in Week 10.
yeah. Well, that's like, I feel like we've been going through the games, and like some of the AFC games are interesting because it's like if you have like the Chiefs Bills like this week, like that's a clear playoff implications. But like you have some games this week where like Cleveland versus the Jets, not interested at all. In the NFC, you have New Orleans versus Carolina, but even like the Giants versus Chicago game, like that's an interesting game. And so I'm excited to kind of see how these games shake out. We're getting to the point in the season where we're starting to see the best version of these teams, and we're really going to see some teams kind of shape into playoff form
Yep.
going forward. So I'm looking forward to it. This is one of the ones that I'm really excited about. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Baltimore Ravens? Will it be the Minnesota Vikings? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.